Hi everyone and welcome to this week's video tutorial. This will be bot number 43 from Dubious Positions and how to attack them. In the previous video, the original video, somehow the sound was lost and I have to redo the entire video. So without further ado, let us begin. Central cannon, Pale corner cannon, sandwich horse defense. In this bot, red would attack with P7+1, which is considered one of the main variations. Black will counter likewise, and red would attack rapidly with R2+6, preparing to attack this horse. And black would protect his horse in this manner as a prophylactic measure. Now, this is a commonly used move. Now, both colors at this point in time would have been described as having played very orderly. This is considered one of the tabia. Now, in this board, red would continue his attack with C8+4, doubling his attack on the central pawn. Now, this is also a continuation of his plans. So far, there's nothing, not much can be criticized about this move. And in retaliation, black would play R9 equals to 8 to offer a trade of material to release some pressure to relieve some pressure and switching to the sandwich house formation. The screen house defense formation. Now, it would be a good idea to play R9 equals to 8, and it would not be a good idea to try to play E3+5 to strengthen the central file and allow for A4+5 later on. This is not a good idea because red will play C8 equals to 5, and after trading material, black will usually play A4+5, and red will play P5+1, R1+4, R8+7. And red would have successfully opened up the situation, have more pawns, and enjoy the advantage. And that is why E3+5 is not such a good idea. So, and red will continue as planned with R2 equals to 3 to pressure the horse. Now, red made this move hoping to keep the situation complicated so that there will be more chances that black would make mistakes. Now, if he had chosen to move R2+1 to trade, the resulting situation would be calm and collected. Both colors would have developed, can take their time to develop material, but red's first move initiative, or the advantage he had with his first move initiative, would become greatly decreased. So the opportunities for red to make gains will have drastically decreased. So now that the chariot was threatening the horse, black would usually retreat the cannon with C6-1. Red develops his left flank, and in this board, black would play R1+1, which would be the dubious move. Now, this is a dubious move because the red chariot would not have any good intersections to develop, save for perhaps this intersection. And because after making this move, his central file would still be vulnerable. Now, the sound move in this situation will be A4+5 to solidify the central file. So let's say if A4+5 were played, let's say red played R9+1. He will continue to develop, to beef up his central file, threaten the chariot, and link his cannons up for a very powerful defense. So black's position is very powerful. He will be able to deal with red's aggressions amply. So the correct move will be A4+5, and this will be the dubious move, and this will also be the position of discussion. Faced with this move, there are two main variations that were discussed in the book. The first would be H7+6, and the second would be P5+1. In the first variation, H7+6, red would triple down his attack on the central file. Now, this is a commonly seen counter, but the authors felt that this move was not powerful enough, because black can take his time to dislodge the chariot after it goes to 4, consolidate his central file. Now e7 plus 5 is played, so that there's always the option of retreating the cannon to the bottom rank for safety later on. Now another hardline approach would be to play r1 equals to 4, but this would result in a huge trade of material. Black would be able to gain a headhunter cannon, and black would pin, preparing to play c2 plus 1 to gain material. Now this is a very complicated situation. Both colors would be attacking and both colors would have their scruples. So r1 equals to 4 is a hardline approach, but in this board e7 plus 5 was discussed, and even though black had consolidated his central file, red would still opt to trade material. After trading material, the situation on the board will become calm and collected. So this will be a roughly even situation for both colors, and that is why the authors felt that h7 plus 6, this variation A, was not powerful enough. One thing to note, after trading material, if red did not develop this move and instead chose to attack from the central, try to attack from the flank, black could easily play c2 plus 1 after trading material. Now a cross check would be a bad idea, because black would now cross check. The cannon here will be delivering a check, and red will lose his chariot. r4 plus 7, and after trading cannons, red's right horse would now become a vulnerable vulnerability on the board, and we would have headaches trying to deal with this situation. So that is why c5 plus 1 is not a good idea, because of the cannon fork over here. So in variation A, after trading material, the situation become very liquefied, and black can be satisfied with this position. Now let us go to variation B, whereby p5 plus 1 was played, whereby red would attack from the central file. Now this would be a much more accurate and precise attack, taking into consideration the fact that black had played r1 plus 1 and his central file was weak. So h6 plus c6 equals to 7 to dislodge the red chariot, and countering with c7 equals to 5. Now black was not willing to defend passively, as he was tried, and this is one of the better ways of stopping the enemy's attack with from the central file with the central cannon of his own. Now if e7 plus 5 were played, red would now start his onslaught on the central file, and red would have the obvious initiative, because now black would be in the dilemma whether to capture the central pawn or not. If not, once the central pawn was captured, there will be 1-2 pieces protecting the central pawn, and red would have the huge initiative. So c7 equals to 5 would be played, but in doing so, the black cannon would have made too many moves and resulted in loss of tempi. And red would continue his onslaught with this very brilliant move by sacrificing the pawn. Now this move was made in retaliation of c7 equals to 5, because once the cannon was here, the black king would now be congested and be placed in a terrible position. So by sacrificing the pawn, if black captured, black would be able to play c8 equals to 7 and threaten to checkmate with the smart cannon checkmate. So, but if black did not play p3 plus 1 and instead chose to attack with c5 plus 4, black would play a6 plus 5 to consolidate his to diffuse the check. p3 plus 1, and he will now try to dislodge the cannon. Black would be forced to retreat, still attacking, and red will be faster in developing his major pieces. And with r4 equals to 6, there's always the threat of k5 equals to 6 for a spotted cannon checkmate. Now, black's position would become a huge liability because of the centroid horse over here, and there'll be endless trouble. So that is why c5 plus 4 is not a good idea. Now let us retract our moves a little bit. a6 plus 5, p3 plus 1, and instead of r4 minus 2, red chose to play c8 equals to 7. That will not be a good idea because now black can retreat his horse, prevent the spotted cannon checkmate, and also attack the chariot over here. And if the red chariot moved, black could link his cannons up, and suddenly this cannon would lack a target to attack, and black will be able to consolidate his position, and the tables would have turned, so black would have a chance to rebound from the situation. So p3 plus 1 is not a good idea. Instead, if p3 plus 1 is a good idea instead of playing c5 plus 4. So now red would take the opportunity to play c8 equals to 7, threatening to checkmate. Black tries to counter aggressively. Now, two other sub-variations were discussed. The first will be c5 equals to 3, and the other will be e3 plus 5. Now, if c5 plus equals to 3 to offer a trade of material, after trading, red's offensive on the central file will be tremendous. As can be seen, black would have been in a very congested and awkward position. The red pawn charges across the river, and red will now be faced with the predicament of losing material. One way, for example, if the horse, there'll be not many good places for the horse to move. Red will be prepared to trade. For example, deliver e3 plus 5. Red will be prepared to capture the black horse. After trading, black would lose the cannon. So c5 equals to 3 is not viable. Now what about e3 plus 5, so that the cannon cannot attempt a spotted cannon checkmate? Red would have other ideas. He would attack with r9 equals to 8, forcing the chariot to protect the cannon in this manner. Now this will allow for c5 equals to 2, but red would have other ideas and play very proactively with f4 plus 2. Now with this move over here, black will be in all sorts of trouble. Now this cannot happen, and also the advisor will not become a target of attack. The horse cannot move simply. So black tries to attack. And red will continue to deliver a check with c5 plus 5, capturing the chariot, and red would have a winning position. So e3 plus 5 would also not be a good idea because of the fact that red can make this very powerful move. So let us retract. If red would usually counter with h3 plus 5, and black would be advised to play b5 plus 1 and give up the elephant. Now if he played c5 plus 2, again red will first capture the elephant to deliver a check. Red would not be in a hurry to capture the cannon. Instead, he will take his time to develop his left chariot, and then capture the cannon now. And red would now have the advantage. He would not have to fear losing his cannon to e7 plus 5 because now it will be a trade on material, and as can be seen, red's material is in the open, very powerful. There's always the threat of c8 minus 2, etc. And red would have the advantage. So still check, and red would double down his attack on the flank, which is what the titles hinted, a flank attack. Now red has to be careful. 4 equals to 7 is not a good idea because black canning his material suddenly trap both the red pieces, and both colors will be pestering each other, but black would now have his chances in this situation. He could always play trade cannons and push the pawn forward to threaten the red horse, and this would be a very complicated situation. There's still also other options for both colors. C7 plus 4 would also not be a good idea, thinking that red could still capture the pawn and perhaps even threaten to attack. But black can counter with h7 plus 5 to threaten the cannon. And counter, threaten to capture the horse. The horse cannot capture, otherwise this would be a check. So red has to play c6 plus a6 plus 5, and black's pieces will now have occupied important lines. This would be more than sufficient to compensate for the loss of an elephant. So that is why the best attack for red would be to play a4 equals to 6. Continuing to mount pressure on this flank. C plus 5, attacking the horse, and red decides to sacrifice material, which black would not dare to take. Now if he captured the horse, a check will be delivered, and after sacrificing material, red is sure to recover capture lost material, because now the horse will be under threat, and if this horse moved, the cannon would be lost, and suddenly red would have a winning position. E7 plus 5 is not viable. What about h7 plus 5? Red would capture the horse immediately for this simple no-nonsense move. Now h3 plus 5, checkmate. So either way, black will lose material or lose the game. So p5 plus 1 is not viable. Instead, red has to take into consideration the potential attack by the chariot and cannon and play h7 plus 6. And red would attack rather aggressively with h6 plus 7 because the horse was threatening the chariot now. Another option, plausible option, would be to play c7 equals to 5, whereby black would threaten, red would protect, counter, capture, and red would again capture back lost material and command the initiative. This is also viable. Red's defense is formidable, black's defense is in a disarray. C equals to 3, check, check. And at this point in time, black's formation is scattered and loose, and red will have more opportunities. Now, this is a slow plus but very steadfast approach. Now, if r8 plus 7, black could move the horse to safety, check. Now, this is not a good idea. r8 plus 2 would be better because protect, black still can strongly defend. r plus 6, black will still be protect, and after trading material, black's material superiority will become significant. So r8 plus 7 is not a good idea. Instead, h5 plus 7 would be a good move. Now, as for r8 plus 4, this would be a good move. r1 equals to 4 is not a good idea because r6 plus 2, check, check, and red gains back lost material and will still be attacking. Black will be at disadvantage. So we come to the end of this board. Let us take a quick review of the board from the eyes of black. Central cannon, screen house defense, p7 plus 1 variation, red attacks, black defense, okay. Red doubles down his attack on the central file. Black offers a trade of material, red refuses, and black retreats to attack. So far so good. Red develops his left flank, and dubious move. Now, variation A, red attacks with h7 plus 6, which is not powerful enough because after black could counter, and after trading material, the situation on the board will become liquefied, and black can be very satisfied with this position because red's first move initiative would have eroded to almost nothing. Variation B, p5 plus 1, red attacks from central file, which is advocated. Many complicated variations, but the main line, again, red dislodges the chariot and counters it aggressively, target in view in light of red's attack on the central file. p7 plus 1, a good move, sacrificing the pawn to open up this line for attack, force mother cannon checkmate. This will be the key to red's success in this variation, and black has to accept. If not, if c5 equals to 4, red will finally get to command this very important file and threaten to checkmate, and black can do nothing about it. Now, c equals to 7, threatening to checkmate, and red would deliver a check with this move. Now c5 equals to 3, bad idea. Red would mount a very powerful offensive, and black would still be in trouble losing material with very awkward positioning of the chariot. Notice that even after 17 plies, the black chariot, which was developed as a rank chariot earlier, was still in a predicament. e3 plus 5 would not be viable either. Red would deliver a check. The most important move in this sequence, in this variation, would be advancing the chariot to block the elephant and delivering a check to capture back lost material, and red will gain a winning position. So c5 plus 4, e3 plus 5, protect, losing the elephant. Red will continue doubling down his attack on the flank. This flank will be under tremendous pressure, and this can be seen because black had developed his ranked right chariot, so rank chariot. He cannot protect the bottom rank, and this will become a huge weakness. Red would exploit it fully. Black tries to defend. Red, this is one of the best moves to attack. r4 equals to 7, not a good idea because black will still be able to defend. c7 minus 4 would also be a bad idea because you would have lost the opportunity to attack the bottom rank. c5 plus 2, trading material, pin, attack, threatening, because the horse, with this move, the black chariot will be protecting the horse, and the horse will be attacking the red chariot. So red makes an intermediate move with r6 equals to 7. Threatens to trade material. Of course, red would not allow that. He would have other ideas. Deliver a check. Another check. r8 plus 4 is correct. If r1 plus 4, red will gain back lost material and a winning position. c6 plus 1, and red would have a winning position. So In this spot, key main idea, R1 plus 1, dubious position. The rank chariot does not have any good place for further development, and he would have lost the ability to protect his bottom rank over here, thus allowing red to mount a very powerful offensive on his flank later in the game. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video. Sorry about the previous video whereby the sound was lost, and I hope you enjoy your weekend ahead. Thank you, and if you like the work that I've been doing, please do subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up for the video.